Hey guys, it's me, John Avenger, once again. Hold on, I'm gonna just do this in a better lighting. You guys need to see my face because this is gonna be a rant, and you need to see my face. Yeah, I think that'll be good enough. Let's do this over here to get a chair. I'll just bring the chair over. I'm doing a rant on a 2017 movie. This is a movie. Wait, I'll just get another chair. Hold on. I'm doing a 2017 movie that came out and has people of color because this is like the month of movies with movies with people of color, not just black people, but okay. Got my chair. It's steady, and I'm gonna finally review it. This is if the chair doesn't close on me. Stay, stupid chair. I hope I don't. This chair looks like it's just gonna fall. Well, let's put it right back here. There, you can see me now. Yeah, because the lighting is bad down here. But The Last Jedi. Yeah, I finally saw it last year. I didn't review it. I reviewed it on Letterboxd. Josh read my review on it, and I waited a long time to see this movie because I tried to see the Blu-ray last year on my old Blu-ray player. It wouldn't load, and I watched it on Disney Plus last year, and I'm not proud of it. And this movie sucked, guys. Yeah. Let's face it, I was not a big fan of The Force Awakens. I did a review on it years ago, and I was trying to defend it, but the hobo ruined that entire film for me. Because the unoriginality and killing off Han, that was just a little bit of the problems with the film. While this has less problems, it's still it's still got some of the same issues I had with The Force Awakens. Killing off characters that we liked, like Luke. Why did you put him in this movie? Because you needed the nostalgia kick. The movie's too damn long. The Force Awakens was long. This is more than 20 minutes longer. And it didn't need to be that long. It's 2 hours and 28 minutes. It's way too damn long. I just saw the Empire Strikes Back in freaking January. It was 2 hours and 4 minutes. It didn't need to be 20 minutes longer than A New Hope. And the film has just the characters are not together. I know that's how they did. They ripped off Empire Strikes Back, where the characters are separated for most of the film. But Guardians 2 did it better than this movie. And read this little blurb in the back. The Skywalker saga continues as the heroes of The Force Awakens join the galactic legends in an epic adventure that unlocks new mysteries of the Force. It's everything you could want and more from a Star Wars film. Katie Walsh, Detroit Free Press. No, it's not. This movie was boring. It goes on way too long. Every scene that you see with Luke and the hobo on the mountain, it goes on. It slows down the film's pacing, and I don't care because the hobo already can do everything in the first movie. You know why I hated the hobo in the first film? She's super powered. She can do everything in one shot. She's not vulnerable. She's not sexy, and the actress can't act for shit. Just like in the first one. But in this one, she gets a reduction in her screen time. But you could tell that they had no plan. Once they got to this movie, they had no plan. I already hated the story in The Force Awakens. Let's just do A New Hope worse. The villains are not intimidating. Kylo Ren in this movie still throws a hissy fit. He has no mask. He destroys it in the beginning of the film, and he's not intimidating. The whole movie, he's just, let the past die. Kill it if you have to. It's Adam Driver on autopilot. He can't even act in these movies. He's trying his best, but he fails. Finn, how do they open into this movie? Poe defeats, fights the Dreadnought, and, they do a space battle, and they're losing, and they lose a couple of people in the aftermath. You have freaking Rose Tico's sister dies for nothing. And the whole movie she's on Finn, he wakes up from bed, and instead of waking up, like, oh my god, what happened? He falls out of bed because this movie has to throw in humor. That's not freaking needed in the first place. Don't worry, I bought this used. I didn't buy this brand new. This is a waste of these 2 discs. Rian Johnson, you screwed up the franchise even more. I know a lot of people said it. A lot of people said this movie subverted expectations. Yeah, so did Infinity War, and it made $2 billion. This made over $1 billion. Why, audiences? Why did you go see this in the theater? I didn't. When this was coming out, I was avoiding it like the plague. I saw Gremlins instead in the theater. They re-released it, and I saw that instead. I did not see this movie until they dumped it on Disney Plus a few years ago. And I'm sorry, the movie is painfully boring. The action is well shot, and there's some decent action here and there. But I've seen it done better in the original films than the prequels. What did this movie do? Oh, it has a diverse cast. Yeah, that's not enough for me in these films. You gotta be interesting. They do Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, but in reverse. They do the throne room scene first, and the ending is the Battle of Hoth. Instead, it's a freaking Battle of Crate on a salt planet that we don't care about with these freaking Pokemon, crystal foxes, and it's uneventful. There's red on in the pavement, in the freaking sky. The hobo shows up out of nowhere. Finn is supposed to die here, but then Rose Tico takes his place. I'm like, yeah, and she doesn't die either. But they might as well have killed her off, because in the next movie, it's all for nothing. You see what happens when you do a trilogy without a plan? James Gunn did the entire Guardians trilogy by himself, wrote it and directed it, and he did it well. And it had continuity. It wasn't like the last movie never happened. This movie erases what happens in Force Awakens. She hands Luke the lightsaber, he throws it over his shoulder. Yeah, that's a laugh for like a few seconds, but then after that, the rest of the movie becomes a joke. Because the Yo Mama joke to freaking Hux, that was stupid. Treating Hux like a punching bag, Snoke is on the freaking hologram and drops him. That's supposed to be funny? I was just cringing. I'm like, this doesn't work in the freaking Star Wars universe, because you're forcing it. This is not the MCU. Even they were accused of putting too much comedy in films like Quantumania and Multiverse of Madness and freaking the Thor Love and Thunder. We get it, but there, it feels a little bit more natural than here. Here, it's just so freaking forced. No pun intended. And you could see why I avoided the movie for over almost a half a decade. And the film is just long. There's the scene in Canto Bight goes on forever. Rose Tico's not the problem with the film. I didn't hate Kelly Marie Tran's character. I know a lot of people did, saying that she ruined the film. They bullied her on Twitter for nothing. And the fact that this movie made so much money and it divided the fans. I was already divided after Rogue One, because I hated that. I was so dull and uneventful too. There was no opening crawl and everybody dies. This is just a depressing freaking movie that they do comedy to try and lighten the mood. And like I said, the hobo can't act. This is the second film I've seen her in the past 9 years, and she's just boring. British accent that I don't care about, that raped me. A freaking, nothing sexy about her. They were going to make her dark. Oh, she's going to turn to the dark side in the next movie, and they say she's a Palpatine, and nothing happens. They do nothing with that. This is a wasted opportunity. This could have been way better than Force Awakens. Do something a little bit different, but don't crap on the fans. That's what Rian Johnson did. Oh, you like these characters being together? We're going to separate them for half the movie. Oh, you like Poe being a cool pilot that survived in the last movie? We're going to demote him and we're going to make him look like a punk in front of these women. In front of General Leia, who, rest in peace, Carrie Fisher, she was the only one that gave me any emotion here. Her scenes with Luke near the end, I felt that because I miss her a lot. But Holdo, freaking Laura Dern, gorgeous actress. Love her in Jurassic Park 3, Dominion, October Sky. Everything I've seen her in, I liked. Not here. She's flat. She has purple hair like a Hunger Games character and does nothing. Yay, what a great character. They kill off Admiral Akbar. They kill the Porgs are annoying. I hated the Porgs. They were cute when I first saw them in the trailer. But then when they show up here, they're just there for laughs. The droids don't do anything. They're a joke in this movie, too. Phasma, her fight with Finn at the end, that comes like near the end of the movie, when Finn wakes up from his dream and is, riding the freaking horse in Canto Bight, and then when he gets to the end, to the third act, he fights Holdo, Phasma. I mean, these characters are so forgettable. They're interchangeable. Literally, the fight is less than 5 minutes. And it's just a bunch of puns. It's like, come on, Chrome Dome, boom. Oh, rebel, you rebel scum. I'm like, again, I saw the original films. You don't have to keep freaking reminding me. You don't have to keep reminding me. I saw the original movies just last year. I saw the Return of the Jedi, the real Jedi movie, in the theater with a small crowd, and they enjoyed it. And I just saw Empire Strikes Back a month ago. Crowd loved it. They clapped at the end. They clapped in the beginning. They clapped for George freaking Lucas. Even Lucas wouldn't write a terrible freaking movie like this. It's just a jumbled mess. It's convoluted. It's boring. It's nice to look at. Like I said, there's great shots in the movie. The space battles, I can see them. It's not boring because there's no action. It's boring because there's so much padding in it. Where is the freaking originality? Why are you going to try to remind me of the originals when I'm like, Guardians did its own thing? It's very similar to Star Wars. You know, they have a MacGuffin they're looking for. You have spaceship battles. You have a freaking giant tree that's basically Chewbacca. You have robots. Yeah, in Guardians 2 and 3. You have a hero that wears a jacket like Han Solo and has his own ship. Again, it's very Star Wars, but it does its own thing. James Gunn didn't rip off the lightsabers. They didn't rip off freaking Jedi mind tricks. They did use the Force in the second movie, but it was only for like one scene. That bolt of energy they have, that's the Force. Come on, guys. Who are you kidding? Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel. They're going to try to interchange all the time. But this movie sucks. You guys knew I was going to say or do a rant on it. I waited until February because I wanted to get it out of my system. It's freaking too long. I was bored. Like by the third act, I'm like, oh my God, just end already. This has the pacing of a Transformers sequel. I'm talking about Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction, and Last Night. I'm not going to count Rise of the Beast because that was shorter than all of those. It had problems, but not this many problems. A movie's much worse when it's long and boring. And Maz, she's in one scene. She has less screen time than the last movie because Lupita Nyong'o was doing Black Panther. A better movie than this, I'll say that. The other characters that you liked in the last movie, who else was in the last movie? I forgot. I like Billy Lord, you know, from the last movie. She's Carrie Fisher's daughter, but they don't give her much to do. She's just a tech lady, and that's with the resistance that's fighting against them. That's it. It's uneventful. This movie was boring. This is why a few months later, Solo came out and bombed, and then Rise of Skywalker was the first one to get a Rotten Tomatoes since The Phantom Menace. But that movie has grown with audiences. It's got problems, but it's not this boring and this long. Oh my God, I'll take the pod race for 10 minutes over this crap any day. Disney ruined Star Wars. They've been doing it since Force Awakens. And people didn't see it until this movie, when I saw it the whole time. I liked Rebels. Loved Mandalorian. Also, rest in peace, Carl Weathers. He just passed away, and this is sad to do because, he was in Mando in those 3 seasons. He'll be missed. No one's going to miss you, Kathleen Kennedy. No one will miss you. When you leave Star Wars, no one will miss you. You're going to be remembered as the woman that butchered Star Wars and ruined fans' expectations. Even with The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, you put your agendas in these freaking movies and you wonder why people hate them. George Lucas did not do that with the prequels. He directed all 3 of those movies, and while they had writing issues, he didn't put freaking gender politics and gay stuff and freaking feminism and wokeness in his freaking movies. No, he let the characters and the story speak for itself. Here, you butchered a freaking franchise, and you deserved what you got. This is why Rian Johnson's doing lesser films now. He's never going to do another Star Wars film, and if he does, it will be after Kathleen Kennedy retires. Yeah. I saw Knives Out. It's good. Because Rian Johnson let the actors be actors, not cartoons or monotone. He let them be. I mean, I didn't like all the actors. I wasn't a big fan of Catherine Langford or Toni Collette, but they're not American. What do you expect? But the rest of them did well. Chris Evans and Anna de Armas and Christopher Plummer and Jamie Lee Curtis, they're better than anybody in this freaking movie. I want variety with my films, even if they're long. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 was long, but it wasn't this uneventful. It had some problems, trust me. Haley Atwell almost ruined the movie, but it's getting a second movie that will make up for the mistakes of the past movie. This can't do it, because the next movie, it's even worse. And I already know that it sucks. If I ever do a rant on it, I will tell you. The Last Jedi is not a good film. Why this made so much money, why the people say that the hobo's a badass, I don't get it. It was good to see Mark Hamill again. He does a few things, not a lot. But I wanted to see him, Han, and Leia together again for one final round. And we'll never get that now that Carrie Fisher's gone. You wasted an opportunity, J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson. Shame on both of you. And I only own this because I got this for $5 at a freaking Five Below when they were still selling Blu-rays. But I'll never watch this movie again all the way through. If I hear the commentary, I'm not going to look at the screen because I'm like, Rian Johnson, you're an idiot. You let Kathleen Kennedy influence you to make things worse. And that's why people hated this movie. It's divisive. It's not the most hated film because the next one is the most hated of the trilogy by leaps and bounds. Nobody hated Return of the Jedi the way they hated this Rise of Skywalker, because at least it concluded on a high note. It still has one of the best lightsaber battles ever, and I love the thing in Endor with the speeder bikes, and I love the opening. It had the characters doing stuff, and they were a family. I didn't feel anything here except for Luke and Leia's scenes together, because it felt like old times. And Carrie Fisher is like he's kissing her goodbye one last time before she passed away in 2016. I miss her, guys, and it'll never be the same without her. Mando at least respected the fans enough to ignore most of the things that happened in the sequel trilogy and Rogue One and Solo. If you're not going to do Star Wars right, don't do it at all. That's why I'm not seeing the new shows that are coming out. I'm finishing Bad Batch. Mando, I'm going to see how he ends that story, and that's it. I don't need another trilogy of BS from Disney. That's why last year was such a huge, big disappointment for them, because they tried to put 10 pounds of bologna in a 5-pound bag, putting all these franchises and streaming stuff on top of each other instead of doing one thing at a time. I know the pandemic is to blame, but this movie didn't have that excuse. This came out before the pandemic. You didn't have an excuse, Rian Johnson. You didn't have an excuse. This was 2017. This was 3 years before the world changed and everything became contactless and scary and movies got lazier. They had to throw $200 million on movies that don't even look like that. This movie has the budget, but it doesn't have the writing talent. Sorry, Rian Johnson, you're not a good writer. Knives Out was only saved because of your cast, because they took that mediocre writing and made it interesting. Yeah, Chris Evans said, "You're going to eat shit," and that's a better line than anything in this movie. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not a good film. Josh will disagree, that's fine. You can say it's a good movie, you can say it's a masterpiece, the best since the original trilogy. I hated it, because it's too freaking long. I hated Force Awakens more because the hobo did everything in that movie and did it wrong. And she has no backstory. Here she says, your parents are nobody. They sold you for a drink. But then they do nothing with that in the next movie. They're like, oh no, you're a Palpatine. And then she has the gall to say she's a Skywalker. No, you're not. Ben was. Luke was. Anakin was. Even Luke's wife is more of a Skywalker than you. Yes, Mara Jade is a Skywalker. They just won't say it because Kathleen Kennedy doesn't want to get crucified for screwing up another female character. But hey, at least I finally reviewed the movie. If you enjoy it, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I hated it. These movies were not meant for me. Guardians was meant for me. The Star Trek movies were meant for me. Even Spaceballs, and that's better than this movie. It's shorter. It gets to the jokes in 90 minutes, not 2.5 hours. That's the problem I have with a lot of films nowadays. They're too damn long. Even the last Bond movie was too long. The last Mission Impossible was too long. The Batman, great movie, but it was too long. Dune Part 2, you gotta be better than this. I'm begging you, Denis Villeneuve, I hope to God that your movie, even though it's longer than this, please don't bore me to death. Please. Because there is no excuse for this. None. But thanks for watching, guys. I'm sorry I had to do my rant down here. I didn't want to wake up my family. They're sleeping right now. It's after midnight, and I'm like, I want to just get this out of the way. You needed a rant. This is my new channel, and I wanted to do at least one rant and not in my room. Avoid this. If you haven't seen it, skip it. Just see the original trilogy again. See the prequels. See The Mandalorian. See Book of Boba Fett. See The Bad Batch. See anything of Star Wars that's not this. Because this is not Star Wars. This is Disney Wars, the woke version that Kathleen Kennedy calls Star Wars. And there's a reason why she's getting backlash now. Yeah. Anyway, acknowledge me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Screw The Last Jedi. You're not The Last Jedi. You're the last failure, and I'm tired of you. Thanks for watching. See ya.